Hi, hello. How are you, Jackie?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Uh, I prefer to call you Jacqueline. I think it's such a lovely name. May I do that?
I know. Actually, I love that name too. It's just that unfortunately everyone calls me Jackie, which is fine as well. But I love my full form.
Yeah, it is a beautiful name. So, Jacqueline, tell me a little about why you formed this foundation. I think it's a wonderful thing to do. But
Thank you.
what sort of sparked it? What started off? What started it off?
Um, so actually, I started YOLO like at the beginning of this year. It was my 2021 New Year resolution. I wouldn't say resolution, but it was just something I knew that I wanted to definitely do. It was my yearly goal, and something that like I was very keen on doing actually for like a few years right now, but I knew that this was the year that I was definitely going to put it into action. And so I was
Hmm.
formulating the company and the foundation, and I had like three major goals that I wanted to target this year.
Hmm.
And it was malnutrition, like it was, malnutrition in children.
Hmm.
And it was like women empowerment, which I wanted to do through financial literacy because I opened my company like last year for the first time, and I realized that because I'm so like illiterate like in business, I was making mistakes left, right, and center, and it was quite a struggle because like I completely set out to do it on my own.
Hmm.
So I want women to, and it's very I think empowering to understand your money and to understand your business. And
Right.
so yeah, and so basically I wanted to like set out on doing that as well.
Right.
And the last one being my love for animals, and just seeing like how I would be able to like work with stray animals along the lines of sterilization, and making their suffering like a little less. So maybe looking for shelter or homes and stuff like that. So that's what YOLO was. That's what YOLO was. Its origin.
Right.
Um, and right when I was like kind of like in the middle of it, the second wave happened. बस करो,
Right.
Dinesh, बस, नहीं सुन बस बस बस.
Hello.
So yeah, the second wave basically like had hit, and I mean at that time I knew that anyways, I wanted to commit myself to, COVID relief and helping people during this time.
Hmm.
And I decided to just take it through YOLO and just completely change course. And so that's what, yeah, that's how it came about. And that's how obviously we jumped into just like immediate COVID relief along with YOLO.
Right. Why did you call it YOLO?
So I actually was like looking for, what I would be able to call it. And like it just came to me one day. It was very strange, like I thought to myself, why do I want to start this foundation? And what does it mean to me? And why am I doing this? And
Right.
I finally like was able to understand that like, I think a life, like a meaningful life,
Hmm.
is one that's full of giving, and
Hmm.
that's full of kindness and full of love. And I wanted to, have a meaningful life. I've always been looking for like that purpose, and something that would give me fulfillment. And I actually think like a lot of us end up looking in like the wrong places,
Right.
and so that's why we never find ourselves truly happy. And so yeah, I think like for me I was just like, okay, like this is my life, and I wanted to be one of like of giving and of love, and like a lot of kindness, and I want to inspire people that way. And
Right.
so then it was like I was thinking to myself, okay, I only live once, and then I was like, yeah, it's like you only live once, which is YOLO, which I've heard so many times before. And but I feel like I've heard them in like a wrong connotation. I've heard them like, you only live once, Jackie, enjoy your life, go out, party, live
Yeah.
it, fulfill your dreams. But like I realized that it was a very selfish way of like living, which is why probably
Right.
like we're never truly fulfilled. And so I decided like you only live once needs to be something that should be about others. So
Right.
that's why I decided to call it the YOLO Foundation, because I just hope that people understand that there's like a much, there's a different way to perceive it. And maybe if we look at it from that, angle, maybe if we look at it from that angle, like, you know, it could be life changing, and it
Right.
has been for me.
Yeah, Jacqueline, obviously, there's also been a spiritual journey along the way, and this is a result of that. I mean,
Hmm.
it must be part of your own spiritual journey or your practice. Do you want to
Hmm.
talk a little about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I think like I've always veered towards spiritual enlightenment. You know, I've always been, I mean, like, even like last year during COVID, you know, during the lockdown last year, I was like, I reread the entire Bible again.
Mhm.
You know, got much deeper, even though I've always been someone who meditates and does my yoga and stuff. I got deeper into meditations. You know, I started exploring different types of like meditation as well, and I think all towards like the path of like, you know, self-realization, and you know, just yeah, kind of like understanding like one's purpose. And you know, so and I think like that's eventually what we're always searching for, that answer.
Mm.
And I think like my spiritual journey has been one of that, like, you know, why am I here, what am I meant to do, how do I find, you know, like, what is happiness, and you know, how should I be defining happiness. And I
Right,
mean, I eventually came down to understanding that it has a lot to do with like peace of mind. And
right,
so, but we need to, you know, do the right actions in order to create that for ourselves. And so, yeah, like, but yeah, I think it's really important, you know, the mind, the, you know, the spirit, the soul, and physicality, they all come hand in hand. Like, you know, it's not just like, you know, going to the gym and building your body, or, you know,
yeah,
even just like the mental work. There's also like the soul also needs to be fed. And you
right,
have to go through a spiritual journey in order to do that.
right, right. So, Jackie, you've also been a very, I mean, apart from being successful in acting, you've also been a pretty smart businesswoman. You know, you have, I think you have restaurants in Sri Lanka with Darshan Muni Dasa, who's like a god, the god of cooking. When you
Yeah.
talk about your own, you know, starting your own company and realizing that you were not necessarily financially good, talk a
Mhm.
little about that and what.
So yeah, I always had this you know, incline towards business, which is right. I mean, like, I found myself quite enterprising. I also really wanted to start up a company, you know, where it was veered towards, you know, more about, you know, women, and you know, just like the female like entity, and female energies. And I definitely did want to promote like female talent.
Mm,
um it was more about it being in the industry. So I was like, oh, I want to make something where like I work with female technicians, and like I look at like female DOPs, and I look at female writers, and you know, like we create like a little community. And I actually found out that there actually is, you know, quite a good movement going on in that department. And so I actually wanted to name my company Shiro,
mhm.
you know, because I felt like, you know, that there weren't enough stories about the Shiro. And then I unfortunately I couldn't register, that name had already been taken. But
Because it's already taken. There's
it was
Sai
already,
Chahal's company.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
loads actually, like very big companies actually have, you know, registered Shiro, and like a lot of other smaller companies as well have taken it for different departments. And
Mhm.
so I couldn't anyways get my hands on it. And anyways, though, like, it was funny because when I was thinking about all the collaborations I would do as Shiro, and I was like, you know, when you do a collaboration, you do your company, and then you mark an X, and then you put the other company that you're collaborating with. So I was like,
Right.
wow, it would be Shiro X, you know, let's say fitness, or Shiro X, let's say beauty, whatever. And Shiro X Films. And then, so because I had written that down so many times, I actually one day spelled it out as She Rocks. And I was like, oh my God, like it actually spells
That's
She Rocks. And
lovely.
yeah, and so I actually was able to keep the name that I actually originally wanted, and it became She Rocks. And so I decided, like, I wanted to just create a community at this moment. And you know, so it's like girls who are maybe looking for that voice, or looking for that guidance, or looking for that just place to kind of, have their answers, have their questions answered, or have some inspiration or whatever it is, they could jump right on there, and we would be the ultimate guide to that. And it wouldn't just be things in, like, obviously fitness is a huge forte of mine. It wouldn't just be things in fitness and, let's say, beauty, but it would also be things in lifestyle and well-being and spirituality and, adolescence, or homosexuality, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, just like those burning questions sometimes that need to be answered. And as a kid, I felt like I never really had that, like, that place to go to, or like that person to talk to. And maybe this could be my way of kind of being there for the teenagers, or like the elder sister that I wish, like, I actually have an older sister, she's gonna kill me for saying that, but like, she also didn't know any better. But yeah, sometimes there's just things that like just remain unanswered, and I think it's really important. And one of the initiatives I definitely did want to take on was financial literacy, because starting a business, and I mean, I can have all the resources in the world. Like, luckily I've, worked my way, to be able to do that. But it was still like, it's not even about, that. It's about just having, like, this was the first time I was getting into a company all on my own. So starting completely from scratch, and absolutely no background, of of business, and so, but it was a tough road, because it's really about, like, understanding the foundation of business. It's about, like, knowing your team. It's about, like, who you're hiring, your accounts, like, oh my God, there's just so many things. And I really, but once I started getting into it, and I formed a company, we're running right now, we got our first really big deal. It was amazing. Like, honestly, I felt so empowered after that. And I really want women to be able to do that. I feel like, a lot of places we might get stuck because we don't really know what, like, how to manage our money, maybe, or anything like that, or how to start businesses, like, we might feel a little bit inferior in that department. So, and so that's something so that was one of the things I definitely wanted to do with Sherocks.
So does Sherocks also offer sort of counseling? Exactly what does it do?
So that is what I do eventually want to get into. Right now, honestly, we're very much focused on, like, fitness. We're very much focused on beauty, and we're focused on just, like, lifestyle. It's still a little bit superficial as we're building the community. But eventually, like, we have plans to definitely do, like, tutorials. We're building our website right now. So we've just started on Instagram, but we're building our website right now, where we're going to be going into tutorials, master classes. We're going to be getting, like, the best of the best experts there, so that you can, like, grow as a person, grow in whatever department that it is that you want to grow in. And of course, there's, like, there's going to be, like, just, I mean, access to maybe specialists, to products, to, like, all sorts of, like, insights into things, into, a world that probably you want to know more about as a growing adult, or as a growing teenager, or like, any transitional space. Like, there was also, like, a really, like, a need for women who are transitioning. Like, I felt that was huge, because like, there really isn't a space for them. Like, I'm talking about, like, even pre-teenage girls, like, that I communicated with in my building, because there's quite a few of them, like 11, 12, and they're going from pre-teenage to teenage, and they have serious issues, like, that haven't been addressed. And I was like I was listening to these one day, and I was just like, oh my God, like, you know what I mean, like, who do these kids turn to? Like, women in transitionary stages, like, when you're going from college to work, what is that going to be like? What is it going to be like, maybe living on your own, living away from your parents, being in a workspace that's not the same thing as college, you know what I mean? So a lot of things. What about women entering their 30s? Not many people are talking about that, because women are afraid of talking about their age, so like, it's just going to be one of those communities that where we address pretty much everything, and we're open about it, so because we want people to be empowered by it.
So Jacqueline, that's a whole lot of work, and of course you have your primary work as well. So it's been what? It's been about, I think, 12 years since you entered the industry. And
Yeah.
perhaps you entered it not knowing so much about what you were getting into. When you look back at the girl who entered the industry and at what you are now, what would be the advice you would give that kid?
Um, wow. I would tell her, hold on,
How old
sorry.
were you then? You must have been a kid.
I was 20.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
nothing.
I was 21 when I first got here, so I was like, yeah, I was like tiny. I was so like wide-eyed and like naive and like it was crazy. I mean, like, if that's why actually for me Sherocks is so important, because I only feel like now I've been somewhat like I've come into my own, and it's like taken
Mm.
me years, right? But it's like I finally kind of found my voice, and I even posted something the other day. It was like things I wish I knew when I was younger, and it was like how to say no,
Yeah,
like creating boundaries with people and not feeling bad, just like things like that, like when you're kind of like new to a country as well, and new to an industry, and you kind of like become you develop like a people pleasing kind of attitude, and
yeah,
which is horrible, right? Because it
right.
really robs you of your own personality and your own like thoughts and feelings. And so yeah, like I would just I wish like I spoke up more, or like I didn't live in like I used to live in like a lot of like fear, like and fear of like the smallest silliest things. And I just wish like I had that much more like confidence, like if it was even just because that really trickles into every aspect of your life.
Right.
And yeah, so I mean, like, yeah, but these things, it's like you have to kind of like, I mean, everyone has like their own journey and their own story, and I think like mine just had to be like that way, and it's taken me some time, but at least like I got there, like at least I finally got to go, like got to understand my own voice and who I am and what I want, and not be afraid to kind of ask for it or to be real about it, so yeah.
Yeah, because I think when you begin, you're also so excited and happy to be part of something that is so enormous and big,
Yeah,
so
that's
glamorous.
true.
And
Yep, that's
then
true.
you're just so grateful, right?
Yep, exactly. You are like everything. I mean, I look back on things right now and I'm just like, oh my God, like I was just, like I was just floating around everywhere,
Right.
like I was like, woo, and I was loving it. Like, things that kind of like, all of a sudden grab my attention. I'm like, wait a minute, like this is not, before they would literally just like whiz past me and I had no idea. And I was totally cool and
Right.
fine. Like, now I've started asking the questions. Now I've started setting the boundaries. Now I've started, becoming a lot more pickier, but like back then I was just, I mean, and I guess maybe we all, at
We
some
all are
phase,
like, yeah, of course.
yeah, at some phase we go through that, and we have to go through that because it only makes you realize, what it is you want, don't want, just things like that. So yeah, but it was, I mean, at the end of the day, it was a great journey, it was a crazy great journey. Yeah.
So
But
are there people, yeah, sorry, Jacqueline, are there people around you whom you've talked to about this, who've given you advice, who've told you, we all begin like that at some point, but it's a struggle, but it is a lifelong struggle to find your own identity and to find your own voice. And that too can keep changing. I mean, what you are 10 years, what you are may not be what you will be 10 years from now.
mhm. No, completely. Honestly speaking, I did not have probably the, and I find this quite sad actually in our industry, unless like maybe you have some family like from the industry or something. If you are an outsider, it's very difficult to have like a female perspective, because um it's like, I mean, obviously I've worked with so many different directors and actors and stuff. And so like they'll, give their 2 bits of advice and be like, oh, this is this. But yeah, I really feel it's important to have a female perspective on things. Like, what is it like for an actress, when she's kind of like transitioning into different roles? What is it like for an actress when she's just beginning? What should she be doing? Like, not many, I mean, not, I've not really, seen that. I mean, like, I've had great relations with all of my female co-stars, but at the end of the day, they're not older or most of them any wiser, because we're all the same, we're all
We're all
contemporaries.
going
And
through the same kind of thing.
exactly, so we can relate and we can discuss stuff from this time, but like, and like what we're going through presently. But if we maybe had an older, like voice telling us, like, or who's been through it or who's more experienced, going, hey, like, this is how it is. I wish we had more of that, to be honest. And it's like, like more of those sessions maybe, or more of those, like maybe, I don't know, like some like gatherings. So I've not really experienced, I wish I had more of that, because I guess, like, life doesn't really prepare you for what's to come. And like for us, it's all the same, but a little bit of maybe like guidance from someone more experienced, and I think would have been interesting earlier on in my life. Now I guess I've figured it out, but it did take a good 12 years to do that.
Yeah, but so I think the foundation for you has come at a time when you're certainly more confident of your identity and what
Yes.
you can give to people, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it has.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have never been able to do this before. Yeah.
Right. Also, to feel confident enough to be in a position where you feel you can actually tell people what you've learned. Even that for women,
Absolutely.
sometimes for women, it's a thing, because you think that, who am I? I don't know enough.
Yeah.
It's cultural
I
conditioning.
I completely went through that. Where I actually felt like, but you know what? I was like, why? Like if I was asked to attend seminars or anything, like I would just be like, yeah, but I mean, why would people want to hear me out? You know what I mean? Like, I had that complex, but then now I guess I think also, like the lockdown has changed people's mindsets a lot.
Right.
For we've been struggling with this pandemic right now for like about a year, and I feel like a lot of people have changed. Like the world has changed, actually people have changed, mindsets have changed, and even for me, like a lot has changed actually, where I've realized that like I'm noticing people being a lot more fearless, which I love, including myself. I'm just like it's okay. Like I'll be honest and straight up with you much more right now than I probably was 2 years ago, or like, even for me, I'm just like, what, if I want to do this, like, this is something I wanted to do, like starting up a foundation. Even sometimes I felt like an insecurity to do that, because I was like, should I really be starting a foundation? I'm like, what will people think? There's always that pressing question that ruins people's lives. What will people think? What will people think? What are they going to say? And it's ridiculous, because like people hardly like even remember, I mean, what they people actually genuinely don't care. And like it's a sad situation, but it's also in a way a good way to look at things, because trust me, like they're all going through like their own stuff. And like if you look at your own perspective as well, and like there was also something amazing that I had read, like don't expect everyone to like you, and don't expect that actually from people, because a lot of people don't even like themselves. And like how are they expected to like you? A lot of them don't have enough, like like they have, all of us right now have attention, like like we cannot pay attention for like more than like a couple of like minutes at a time. And like your issues or whatever it is, like it doesn't really, people won't even remember them. So yeah, I kind of started like looking at that mindset where I was like, I need to be like a little bit more clear and focused, and like I mean, true to myself. And it's great. It's definitely, I mean, the word for sure would be empowered.
Yeah.
And actually building Sherocks, even starting YOLO for that matter, have really shaped me, in many ways that I didn't realize they would.
Hmm.
and so I learned so much, like even about myself, and which is I think an important growth to be able to have.
No, and Jacqueline, I wanted to tell you that, I used to be in India today, and for many, there were many times when, I would invite you to speak to us, and I would wonder why you wouldn't come because you speak so well. So I do
Hmm.
hope that you will now address more gatherings, or talk to more people, especially young women out there. There's so much insecurity out there.
Yeah.
When they listen to someone like you talking about their own struggles, it's a very empowering thing.
Yes, exactly. It really is. It really, really is. So
Yeah,
yeah, and that is
because
definitely
you
something
think everything
I'm
is
quite
perfect.
no, that is something I'm definitely passionate about, like doing right now. It's just that, it just,
Good,
the timing just had to be there.
right. And do you want to talk a little about the work you're doing on screen as well? Are you happy with what you're doing? There's so much opportunity. While of course there's the pandemic, there are also lots more opportunities now for actors to do different things, isn't it?
No, yeah, there is, of course. I mean, like honestly, right now, with this pandemic, it's a very, very sad situation. I mean, like honestly, like for me, this has become like a major it's kind of like taken over. The YOLO Foundation has just taken over, and it's playing like a major like
Right,
force in my life right now,
right,
because there is just, I mean, like I realize that there's so much to actually do, and there's so much to contribute, and there's so much, to give back. And like once we started like, figuring and identifying, okay, where can we be of help in, in this pandemic, we were looking at like frontline workers. We started looking at like people who don't have any food. There are literally so many people who are like starving out there, like
right.
thousands and thousands. There are people who cannot afford ambulances to get them to the hospital in time. There are people, obviously we all know about the shortage of like beds and of oxygen. So
Yeah,
like we have been spreading our, our hands into like as much work as possible, and in whichever way as a team, I have like some great volunteers. We do like a chat every single week. There's like over 100 that join us all
right.
over the country. We talk about like what these people can actually like do to contribute. I mean, like a lot of people cannot contribute monetarily, but like they like what we're the message that we're trying to put out with YOLO is like, you don't have to always, it doesn't always have to be a donation, in funding. There are so many things you can do to become a COVID warrior, just by like helping the old lady in your building who maybe doesn't have her family with her at the moment, or organizing groceries for like someone who can't get out during this lockdown, or like being there for a friend who during this lockdown is maybe facing some issues, like because there's so much mental health like issues right now. Like just, I mean, there's so many ways. So we've been actually, I mean, right now, since like I've been working with YOLO, I've really been dedicating pretty much like my entire day to it, just in the hopes that this will all like die down soon, and we'll we come out of this stronger.
Right. Great. Jacqueline, thank you very much. My last question really is about, your multicultural life. You lived in India. You've, I think, lived in West Asia as well. And of course, Sri Lanka is your home. So, how do you see yourself? You're pretty much of a global citizen, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, like, but honestly, I mean, like right now I have been in India for like about 12 years. So
Right.
it definitely is home. And but coming from like a multicultural background, like there's Sri Lanka, there's Malaysia, there's
Right.
you know born and raised in Bahrain,
Right.
studied in Australia. There's so much. Like my
So
sister lives in
many.
America.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. Like honestly, this is I mean, I'm glad that I actually had that type of upbringing as well, where I was exposed to different cultures. It definitely does make you more like just grounded, and just more understanding to other people's worlds. I think like a lot of the issues we face nowadays is people are not open to other people's cultures, and it's purely just not understanding it. It's just a matter of that. They just don't understand it. And luckily, because I've been able to like live in all these cultures and meet all these people, I understand it. So like, you know, and it purely comes from that. So like I have a genuine love for you know, just humanity and you know, like and this world. And yeah, I you know, there's one thing I feel that's amazing that's come out of technology, and it's the fact that it's like it's really, you know, just made us everyone so much closer.
Yeah.
And that is exactly my childhood. That's exactly how I grew up. I was like, I've just been like everywhere, and I've met so many different people. So yeah, but it's been amazing though.
Great. Thank you so very much, Jacqueline, and all the very best.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Jackie.
Bye.
Bye. Did you guys? Bye.